Hello, in this video we are going to learn how to use table and graph to evaluate inverse function at a very specific value. Let's begin. Here we want to evaluate the composition of f and g inverse of 2. Okay, so by definition, that would be the same as f of g inverse of 2. And let me use the bracket here so you can see that. Two different. Okay. So the first thing we are going to evaluate, you have to start with the innermost function. So we have to evaluate g inverse of 2 first. Okay. So the f and what is g inverse of 2? So what does that notation mean? Okay, so let me write quick note. So g inverse of 2 mean that given y value is 2. And we want to find the corresponding x value. Okay, so I'm going to go back to the table G. So this is the table G. I'm looking for the y value at 2. So here we are. This is the y value at 2. So this is y value. Okay. And then so we look for the corresponding x value. So right on top, that is the corresponding x value. It means that because to get a point, you need to have an ordered pair. So this is the ordered pair of x and y right here. So therefore, our x value will be 3. Okay, so this case I'm going to put 3. Okay, so let's look at the next one now. So now we want to find f of 3. Now f of 3 is very simple. So f of 3. So in this case, there's no inverse, just the normal function. So this would mean that given x value equal 3, then we just want to find the corresponding y value. Okay, so we will go to the table F here. So let's find the x value 3. So this is our x value is 3. Then we'll look for the corresponding y value to right below this, so the y. Okay, so therefore that will be 1. So our final answer is 1. Okay, do we have any questions so far? So right here, I just use the brackets or parentheses. It's just because I just want you to know that there are 2 functions here for the first one. Okay, so let's just look at the next one. Okay, the next one, we are going to use graph to evaluate each one of these 4 given expressions. So let's just start with part A. Okay, so for part A, we want to find f of -1. So this is just a normal function. So the input will be the x values. So therefore, when we go to the graph, and we're looking for the x value at -1. So right here, x value at -1. We're looking for the points on this line. Okay, so therefore the point is right here. So at this point, x is -1, y is -2. So therefore we conclude that our answer is the y value, -2. Okay, let's look at the next one. Part B. We want to find f inverse of 1. So again, keep in mind that when we see the inverse notation, then right now what inside the parenthesis, if we're looking at the given function f here, what inside the parenthesis is the y value of the given function f. So I'm going to go back to the given function f. This is the graph of the given function f. And we are looking for where the y value is 1. So this is the y axis is 1 and go all the way horizontally, so until it touches the graph. So therefore, this will be the points 2, 1. Okay, so 2, 1. So we want to, so right here, f inverse of 1. By looking at the function f, that will tell us that we know the y is 1 on the function f. So right here, the y value is 1. And we try to find the x value for, so therefore, f inverse of 1 is 2. Okay, let's look at the next one. Next one will be part C. Okay, so for part C, we want to do f inverse of 0. And may I try different color? Okay. So f inverse of 0. So again, this is the inverse. So when we go back to our given function f, this linear function here, and we are going to looking for the point where y is 0. Okay, so y is 0 will be the point on the x-axis. So this will be the point right here where y is 0. Okay, so this is the point where y is 0, x is 1. So our f inverse of 0 equal 1. Okay, let's look at the next one, part D. This one we have to find the composition of two functions, f inverse and f of 3. So we have to write it by definition of composition. We write f inverse of f of 3. Okay. First, we have to evaluate f of 3 first, the innermost. So let's evaluate f of 3. So f of 3, it means that when you go to our given function f, we're looking for the y value when given the x value is 3. So this is the x value is 3. Okay, so I'm looking for the y value. So the point on the graph is right here. So the y value will be 2. Next, now we go ahead and evaluate f inverse of 2. So f inverse of 2, it means that now go back to the function f, but the given when we on the function f, the f inverse of 2, now we are looking for y is 2. Okay, so y is 2, and we're looking for the x, so the x value is 3. Now let's pause and think about this. What have you noticed? Our final answer and the input, are they the same? Okay, so therefore from here we can conclude that f inverse, the composition of f inverse and f, whatever the input is, it still gives me the same as the input. It's very important that you can see that. Yeah. Okay, so let's go ahead and the next one, we are going to go ahead and practice to graph the inverse function. So right here, the given function is a line with the slope is 1 and the y-intercept is -1. So I'm just pick few points on this graph And then, for example, the x-intercept is 1, 0. So now it becomes the y-intercept. So 0, 1. You see that? So this is 0, 1. And let's look at I'm gonna look at this point, the green point here. This is 3, 2. So when we plus on our inverse, it will be 2, 3. So 2, 3. Then I'm going to go ahead and connect. And then of course you can plot a few more points if you will. Like for example here, this is the point -1, -2. So now on the inverse will be -2, -1. Okay, so this is our F inverse of x. Now if you notice again, the F inverse and the function f, the graph of F inverse is the reflection of the graph of the function f over the line y equal x. So this is the line y equal x here. Okay, so therefore we can go ahead and say over here the graph of F inverse is a reflection of the graph of f about the line whole equation is y equal x. Thank you so much for watching. Goodbye.